Yeah, that's right. That's him in the thumbnail, baby. All swagged out and decked out, heading into the 2022 NHL Draft. You might be wondering, what the hell am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about this fly-as-hell MFer that we are going to be talking about in today's commentary, because when it comes to the hottest prospect out of the NCAA, there were headlines shortly after the conclusion of the 24-25 season that he would not be signing with the team that initially drafted him. Today we are talking about Tampa Bay Lightning 31st overall pick in 2022, Isaac Howard. And if that name sounds familiar, it probably should for a number of reasons. Not only was Isaac Howard one of the best producing players in the NCAA this season with 52 points in 37 games played for Michigan State University, but he also won the Hobey Baker Award for the best player in college hockey this year. Not to mention the fact that this is a guy who made the first All-Star team, he was the Big Ten Player of the Year, he was the Big Ten scoring champion, he was the tournament MVP, he was on the first All-American team, and was on the Big Ten championship team for Michigan State Uni. Now, we won't talk about the actual NCAA tournament, we'll just talk about the Big Ten tourney, because unfortunately, Michigan State got eliminated in an upset victory by Cornell University. But Isaac Howard is a prospect that is worth your attention, and he has been worth it ever since 2022. He was taken 31st overall by the Lightning, but there were folks that were going out there and saying that he could have gone higher. In fact, I wanted to give a big pat on the back to the folks on Elite Prospects, because if you take a look at their video section for Isaac Howard, not only will you find some really good scouting report videos, but you'll even find the Why I Want video listed on here as well. So big shout out and thank you to Elite Prospects for reducing my imposter syndrome and actually seeing some of the value that these videos can provide. It's unfortunate that the Why I Want series didn't really have a priority this season, but it's all because my top teams were not really in the lottery conversation. Anyways, Isaac Howard was ranked as high as number 20 by folks like TSN and Bob McKenzie. Button had him at 32, Future Considerations had him at 22, and McKean's at 23. However, he dipped all the way to 31st overall for a number of reasons. Now, let's focus on the good here. Isaac Howard, the scouting report on Elite Prospects says that his skating stands out. He pushes his knees past his toes, engages his hips, and maintains his posture in tight, while deking or on the back check. His top hand moves freely around his body, which he turns into incredible stick handling displays. When handling, he is scanning, adjusts his body position to get pressure on his back, and then uses hesitations and changes a pace to slip around the check. Isaac Howard, as ranked here on the Elite Prospects Scouting Guide, is a player with some really good wheels, he's got some great puck handling and shooting ability, and had a pretty strong motor to boot. In the Why I Want video, we spoke about all these qualities, how he was a highly productive US NTDP player, and he was productive, and he eventually went over to the University of Minnesota Duluth and then transferred over to Michigan State, where he had the 52-point season in 37 games that he had. But after wrapping up this junior season with the Spartans, he ended up not signing with the Tampa Bay Lightning. And the comments that he made about why he didn't sign were quite alarming. He pretty much said that him and the Tampa Bay Lightning did not really see eye to eye, and that resulted in him wanting to go back over to the NCAA for a fourth term as a senior, which, of course, we all know, if he graduates and he doesn't sign at that time, then he will become an NHL free agent. It's kind of scary for Tampa Bay, which is why we're diving into trade options here. And I wanted to refer to an article in the Hockey News as to whether or not the Red Wings could be a fit for Michigan State star Isaac Howard. This was posted by Sam Stockton yesterday, and it gives us a little bit more context as to what we need. Here is what Julian Breezeball went out there and said about Isaac Howard not signing. When I chatted with him, he was pretty candid, and I appreciated his honesty, and I thank him for his honesty. He values the opportunity to choose the club that he believes is the best fit for him. And I won't speak for him, but he values that. Right now, I would say it's unlikely that we, the Tampa Bay Lightning, will sign him. He then conceded that a trade or free agency departure are likelier outcomes for Isaac Howard. This is why Howard trade talk has been picking up the past few weeks here. Hey, which team should go out there and sign him? Could this team use a high-energy, high-motor offensive talent? Well, I think a lot of teams would probably go out there and say yes. Stockton goes out there and compares the Howard situation to the Rutger McGroarty stuff from last year with the Winnipeg Jets. They failed to reach an agreement, and then McGroarty decided to go back to the University of Michigan before he eventually got traded, and then he signed with the Pittsburgh Penguins. This is where the article talks about Detroit as Isaac Howard's potential destination. Could he be a worthwhile trade target for the Red Wings? The answer is predictably yes, at the right price and with the right expectations. To get McGroarty, the Pittsburgh Penguins gave away their 23 first-rounder Braden Yeager. Given Howard and the Lightning's public separation, it's hard to imagine that Howard would cost even that much. Instead, this is likely a chance to procure a high-end prospect at minimal cost. Then, a team might believe Howard's road to the NHL is faster than McGroarty's, having played an extra year in the NCAA. The question then becomes whether the Wings see Howard as a potential contributor next season at the NHL level, and whether it might make more sense to simply let him hit free agency next summer and then descend. Given his offensive profile, the likely low cost, and the organization's close relationship with MSU, Howard definitely seems like a worthwhile swing for Detroit, whether this summer or next. And that, I think, is a fair, vanilla way to talk about it. If you think Isaac Howard is a guy who can already be a contributor at the NHL level, then make the trade for him, give up a prospect that you're not too high on, and sign him now. But if you want to see what he can do, or you don't necessarily think he's ready to make that impact right now, you can wait a year. That's possible. You can wait a year and let him play his senior season in the NCAA, a fourth year in college, a third with the MSU Spartans, but fourth overall, and just take a look at what he does in his final year of NCAA eligibility. If at that point you think, hey, this is a guy who just came off of a Hobey Baker winning year and he was still really good and he was dominant and he was even better in his next season, we want to sign this guy, then okay, you have the chance to do that. But of course, there's going to be a bidding war for this player if he hits the free agent market like he is projected to doing next season, unless a team comes in and saves him from the fortune that he's got right now, which is being a part of a Tampa Bay organization that he doesn't believe has the best spot for him long term. And now we're starting to see debates as to whether or not the Lightning are really in a good spot right now. People are talking about John Cooper potentially getting the can, and folks are bringing up the Steven Stamkos ordeal from last year, and now they're talking about their top prospect not wanting to stick around. I don't want to say the Lightning are going down the Vancouver Canucks path of drama, but hey, I think at some point folks got to stop talking about only Vancouver, which is why we're making this video over here, right? I kid. Once Tampa Bay has a whole bunch of teammates feuding with each other like Pettersson and Miller were, then we can start talking about them in the same breath. But ultimately, Isaac Howard not wanting to sign with Tampa Bay, maybe he doesn't necessarily see the opportunity with this team being all too noteworthy. Maybe he wants a better chance with a maybe less stacked team overall. A team that has more room for younger guys to potentially step into the lineup and make an impact. A team like Detroit, for example. Not even to say that Isaac Howard is going to be better than a Tyler Mott or somebody right away. There are still things on his game that he would need to work on, but if he brings the work ethic and the dog that you get out of Tyler Mott, but has a much better finishing and scoring touch, then I honestly do see a lot of value in that. And I do think that Isaac Howard is one of these guys that can provide more than you would expect out of a later first-round pick from 3 years ago. So with this in mind, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If the price is a pretty decent or maybe even a former top-round prospect, what are your thoughts on the idea of the Detroit Red Wings acquiring Isaac Howard from the Tampa Bay Lightning? Do you think this is a worthwhile idea to be thinking about? Do you think that this is a player that's worth mentioning? Or is this just one of many conversations that we can have about Howard, because every NHL team is probably going to be out there wanting this guy for their squad? Do you think it's worth it for the Wings to make the trade for Howard and get him right now, or would you rather see Yzerman wait and sign him next year? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. 9. and bye.